Hello and welcome to this installment of our Alumni Speaker Series. We appreciate you being with us today, and we are excited to continue our conversations we've had some great alums that we've been able to connect with this semester. And today we have with us Stephanie Mataruski. Stephanie is a 2015 graduate of Concord. She's originally from Steubenville, Ohio, and Concord was actually the only college that she visited when she was checking out colleges. And she decided to come to Concord because she fell in love with Athens when she was here. I think most of us that are alums can relate to that, at least on some level. Her degree was in business administration while she was here at Concord. Her first job straight out was a payroll position in Princeton, and she now is in Roanoke, Virginia, where she lives with her fiance and her two kids, and she is a customer support analyst for an energy management company. So Stephanie, we're excited to have you here with us today. And if you just want to get us started by maybe talking a little bit kind of about your time at Concord, or kind of what your journey to get to where you are today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm excited. So like you said, I only looked at Concord. So I know I'm going through it right now with my daughter. We're, gathering college information and seeing what would be the best fit. And I had all these papers and brochures and whatnot from all the colleges that I had asked for information from. And Concord was a big packet from like my freshman year of high school or something. And I was like, this is it. And of course I applied at other places, but Concord was the only place I visited. And I remember driving into Athens just thinking this was it. And I picked Concord because I wanted a liberal arts education. I wanted to be further away from home and be able to focus on my studies. And while I was at Concord, I actually had to take a semester off. I did get too caught up in paying bills and being an adult and having a life instead of enjoying the time that I was in. And that's really kind of what I'd like to talk about today, is enjoying the time that you're in. Our audience today is probably mostly seniors or students at Concord already. And the world tells us that we need to be adults and we need to grow up and do all these responsible things and figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life right now and pick a major. But really, you picked a liberal arts school, get some experience, enjoy your electives, study hard, of course, don't do anything silly, but enjoy the time you're there. Looking back at school, there was lots of things that I missed out on because I was too busy picking up shifts at work or, crunching for the test at 3 a.m. instead of hanging out with my friends or whatnot. So remember, this time won't pass. Enjoy the time you have, take the opportunities that you have right now. I found out later on that there was plenty of time to pay bills and worry about all the adult things, and not so much time to make those friendships that I could have had or the experiences that I could have had while I was in school. I thought that I was going to go into human resourcing.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause this.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm going to want to try to switch my network because
Okay. Are we cutting?
Can you hear me, Stephanie? Well, hello, and thank you for joining us for this installment of our Alumni Speaker Series. We have really enjoyed chatting with some alums so far this semester and are excited to continue the series today with a conversation with Stephanie Mataruski. Stephanie is a 2015 graduate from Concord. She got her degree in business administration. She's originally from Steubenville, Ohio, and Concord was the only college that she visited, and she picked Concord because she fell in love with Athens, which again, I think any of us alums can relate to that on some level, just kind of the charm of being here. Stephanie's first job after graduation was with a payroll office in Princeton or payroll position. And she now is in Roanoke, Virginia, where she lives with her fiance and her 2 children. And she is a customer support analyst for an energy management company. So Stephanie, thank you for joining us today. And with that, I think we can just go ahead and get things started with you maybe talking a little bit about your Concord experience and kind of how that led you to where you are today.
Sure thing. Thank you. I'm excited. So, like you said, Concord was the only school that I looked at. When I arrived on campus, I knew at the beginning of the tour, this was it. Athens, I fell in love. The mountains of West Virginia that I don't have back home in Ohio, and that sort of thing. When I was trying to decide on colleges my senior year, I had gathered all these brochures and postcards and whatnot from all these colleges, and I separated them into a large stack and a small stack, and Concord was actually at the bottom. And it would, among the sizes of colleges that I looked at, and there was a couple back home, Concord was just the only answer. And I'm so glad that I picked Concord. I knew that I worked very hard for my degree. I did have to take a semester off. I struggled through several semesters of college, like lots of people. And so it really took me, I think, 5 years to graduate with my bachelor's. But through every step of that process, my professors were there for me. I had gained personal experience or personal relations with all my professors. They knew my name. They knew when I missed class. That was the sort of thing that I was looking for. And I got caught up while I was at college trying to be an adult and working too hard. And I lost some of the experiences that lots of people treasure after college. I definitely have fantastic friendships that I made there at school. Not all from the department that I studied in. You know, everything seems to separate a little bit. My 2 best friends right now were actually science majors, and that's pretty cool. So I got to learn lots of geology from them. But there was lots of things that I missed out on because I was so busy trying to pick up extra shifts at work and deciding what my future was, because we always tell kids that they need to grow up and decide what they're doing because their future is so important. And it is. But right now is also important. Being young and enjoying where you are and what you're doing right now is important. And it will be important for who you are later on. The experiences I had at Concord have certainly helped shape who I am now, and the things that I learned in school definitely have made me more successful now. The thing that makes me stand out on my team is that I'm a team player and I'm open to learning, and I'm good at learning. My current position is an customer support analyst. I work for a company called GridPoint. We do energy management. Some days I can't program my TV, but I can tell a technician halfway across the world how to wire a thermostat and program a controller that I've never seen the inside of the store before. He's telling me what he's looking at, and we talk in very simple terms. I need you to put this red wire on that green thing right there. And that's how we get through our day. But what makes me stand out on my team is that I'm concerned about everybody learning and that I learn well. And those are things that I learned at school. I had several professors that took the extra time to make sure that I got the extra help that I needed while I was there, or there was a professor that I TA'd for, And I remember late nights grading papers in her office. And she just told me all about her life and how she got to where she is. And those moments are what stick with me. And if you're so busy trying to be an adult and studying too hard in the library, you don't get all of that. And so the extra electives, or take a class that your friend really liked that you never take. Don't be afraid of speech class. It's really not that bad. Art's not that boring. It's super cool to learn some of those things. Those sorts of things are really what's going to stay with you after school. Your degree is very important. Your future is very important. The steps you take now will change who you are. But don't be so busy working that you don't have any fun and get those experiences later.
That's some really great advice, and so I appreciate you sharing that. Do you think there was maybe one particular experience during your time at Concord that was especially valuable to you in terms of preparing you for what you're doing now?
Probably that TA experience. That was actually with Dr. H. For her astronomy class that I would have never taken had I not had to have another lab science. And I remember sitting in one of her physics classes. It was the end of the semester and I was grading some papers for her. And I watched as the entire class just had their individual light bulbs go off. And I was like, wow, maybe I could be a professor one day. I don't know anything about science aside from, what I've had so far in my 2 lab sciences that I've struggled with. But I was like, wow, I could do this. That would be so cool to do this every day. And it was that moment that I was like teaching other people, learning. And so I took that. I specialize mostly in training. I have a training background, and so one of my other positions, I've took an entire handbook. I made a 30-page book on how to be a server, how to wait tables. Nice. I broke it down step by step. And that's what I do in my job today. I teach other people to do simple things. And it's really those moments sitting in her classroom, watching her teach is what helped me with all of that.
Great. Sounds like that she was a good role model for you in terms of seeing someone teach and being able to share that information. Well, you've talked a little bit, I think, about this, but would you, if you could go back and do things all over again, is there anything you would do differently? And if so, what would that be?
I would definitely join the college experience a little more. Go have lunch in the cafeteria. It's scary. There's a lot of people in there, but those people have awesome viewpoints that you'll never find out about. I don't remember the name of the class, but the Intro to University or
University 100.
Yes, University 100. I remember sitting on the bus on the way to our community service, and a fella told me that he was from Mayberry, which I now know is a town. Town is a loose term for it, not too far from campus. And I thought he was making that up. I looked that young man in his face and told him that he was pulling my leg. But I would have never known that. I would have known nothing about it. Or, the foreign exchange students that I spoke with, some of them were so awesome to hear their different points of view of our culture and their culture and what they're doing with their lives, and to realize that we could connect on different levels, even through a language barrier or through completely different viewpoints on major things. Or I really wanted to join a sorority is what I wanted to do, but I didn't have time. I was too busy working. But those are friendships that I'll never get back. Like, those are amazing women that I could have still been best friends with and had over for coffee every day. But I missed out on that.
I think that's something with a smaller campus like Concord. If you do join a sorority or a service organization or, SGA, I think, there are some really good opportunities that I think help with that, because otherwise,
Definitely.
If you don't link up with groups like that, it's very easy to just kind of come to class, do your thing, and then leave.
And then go on home. Right.
Right. And then you look back, and you're like, oh man, I missed out on this or this. So
right.
That's good advice. Well, is there anything so far since you've been working, a particular incident you've dealt with or anything that's happened that really has stuck out in your memory that you'd like to share with us?
I don't have anything particular. I'm sure I have lots of stories, but I don't have anything in particular that stands out.
Okay. Would you have any tips or suggestions then for students maybe considering a career in your field, kind of some things that they could do while they're in college or fresh out of college that might help prepare them?
So my current field, no, because I would have had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing when I walked in the door. My team is everything from former HVAC technicians to retail managers to salespeople, engineers. I work with all kinds of people all day. So my particular field, no, but the general idea of what I do is customer service, customer support. So I know that I've harped on not being too busy working and making all the money, but everybody does still need to get a side job and have a little extra cash. Those waiting table positions or hosting or the bookstore or Starbucks, whatever it may be, those are valuable skills that you'll use later on. They definitely make a difference in what I do, because I know how to interact with the customer and I know how to not only be professional, but personable. So the general interaction of, hey, how are you? How can I help you today? Sounds like a script. But if you mean it, it'll totally change your interaction. I can get on the phone with an upset customer who's been mad all morning and hollering about everything. And okay, how can I help? And they think that I genuinely mean it, and they will tell me the problem and we'll work together to solve it. So those are skills that I learned while I was working in college, in those odd jobs or, those minimum wage, boring, don't want to do this the rest of my life type things.
Right. But important jobs that need to be done, and thankful to have people that can fill those roles for sure.
Yes, of course.
Now, how has your work been different since the pandemic hit?
So my entire department I was speaking with a coworker this morning, as of March 10th, it'll be a full year that we've been working remotely, which is crazy to think that it's been a whole year. When we first came home is how we all speak about it, because we worked in an office as a team. You could put 3 or 4 people in a cubicle trying to solve one problem, which is really cool. But now we're all in our own homes with dogs barking and children working virtually. And I now get to hang out in my favorite t-shirt and leggings all day, which is cool. But at the same time, it makes the teamwork and maintaining the company culture very difficult. We're all hoping that it'll be safe to return to work soon. Our company is being very careful as a whole. We don't have just one office. We have several, and we have salespeople out in the field that are not traveling right now. Neither of our offices are working together, and we've had to shut down our warehouse several times for cleaning issues. Cleaning protocol. So it's definitely been different. When we first came home, we were all very scared that my dogs bark at the mailman. What is this technician or this customer going to think when they hear my dogs barking in the background or my kids interrupt the process? But everybody is right now. The entire world is working from home. So they've been very, very understanding, and that's a relief.
Good. Now, have you had any, do you have anything you do to kind of keep your sanity, from working at home? I mean, I know that's
I get
a
up
challenge.
It's definitely a challenge. I get up and walk away from my computer about once an hour, whether it's to get a cup of coffee or use the restroom or just walk outside and get fresh air. Because I found that when there's not the separation, the commute to and from work, the urge to sit right here in front of my computer all day is very tempting. Oh, I can get more done now. I'm going to be more productive. And then I feel completely drained at the end of the day and I want to do absolutely nothing. So I get up, I make sure that I stay hydrated. The person in the team chat, make sure you get real food. Coffee doesn't count as water.
Right.
Take care of yourselves. Right. Exercise, definitely. Just even a walk around the house if you can't leave the house. And trying to maintain the interpersonal relations that I have with my coworkers. Side chats on Monday morning. How was your weekend? How were we doing? Because we miss that now. I don't get to go to the break room and have a cup of coffee with Susie from sales now. I don't see her. So checking in with my coworkers, of course, my friends virtually, and getting up and away from the electronics.
I can totally relate. We were, of course, working at home for a while, and then my coworkers and I, we were very excited when they allowed us to come back in person. You need that. You need that interaction and
certainly
that face to face. So it's good to hear you all are still trying to stay connected, even though you're not back in the office yet, but hopefully you will be soon.
Hopefully.
Well, Stephanie, are there any final thoughts? Anything you haven't mentioned that you want to share?
I don't believe so. I think we've covered.
Okay. Well, again, I think this has been some great perspective. And so I appreciate you sharing this all with us today. And so thank you for that. And thank you to everyone who has been watching this. And stay tuned for our next installment of the Alumni Speaker Series. Have a good day.